All right, let's get into it. We're tackling one of the most powerful and, honestly, one of the most dangerous laws from Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. We're diving deep into Law 27, which is basically a blueprint for gaining absolute, unwavering devotion.
But before we spell out the law, I want you to think about this for a second. What if you could make people believe in, well, anything? And I'm not talking about winning an argument or using logic. I mean pure, unfiltered belief. That kind of power? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so here it is, Law number 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. Greene's big idea here is that deep down, people are just desperate to believe in something. And if you can position yourself as the focal point for that desire, if you can offer them a new cause or a new faith, you tap into this massive source of power.
So you might be asking, why does this work so well? Greene calls it the great human void. His argument is that, as humans, we just can't stand doubt or that feeling of emptiness for very long. It's like we're hardwired with this primal need to believe. And that need, well, it makes us vulnerable. It makes us kind of gullible, really. We're basically primed to latch on to anyone who comes along offering a cause that gives us a sense of purpose and certainty.
And here's what's so wild about it. Greene doesn't frame this as some kind of magic or mystical art. Nope, he calls it the science of charlatanism. He literally lays out a step-by-step formula, a recipe, if you will, for how to weaponize this deep-seated human need.
And here's that playbook. 5 simple steps. 1. Keep it vague. 2. Emphasize spectacle. 3. Borrow from religion. 4. Hide where the money comes from. And 5. Create an us versus them dynamic. All right, let's break down what each of those actually means. Okay, step 1. Keep it vague. Look, the goal here isn't to win some high-minded debate. It's all about forging an emotional connection. You're not trying to sell a 5-point plan with a bunch of data. You're selling a feeling. You do this with big, beautiful, promising words. Think transformation, a new beginning, a better future. The real key is to whip up so much enthusiasm that it just completely steamrolls any kind of rational objection.
All right, step 2. This is all about sensory overload. See, once you've got them hooked emotionally, you've got to distract their critical thinking. And the absolute best way to do that? Pure spectacle.
I want you to imagine a total sensory experience. We're talking dazzling lights, powerful music, maybe even things like incense. Greene makes a great point that using new technology is a really smart move here because it gives everything this fake air of scientific proof. At the end of the day, it's all just theater. It's a show designed to stop people from noticing the massive holes in your story. So, you've got this growing crowd of followers. What's next? You have to get them organized. And for step 3, you're going to borrow a structure from a very old, very powerful model. And that's organized religion. And why do you do that? Simple, because it works. You create a hierarchy. You give out special titles and ranks. You give your followers rituals to perform. You even ask them to make sacrifices. All of this stuff builds an incredible sense of commitment and makes your authority feel totally legitimate, almost divine. Okay, now for step 4. This one is, well, it's pretty cynical, but it's absolutely crucial. As the leader, you're probably going to get rich. Very rich. The one thing your followers can never suspect is that it's their money making you rich. Here's the trick. Your wealth has to be presented as living proof that your system works. See? It's not their donations making you rich, it's the sheer power of your ideas. This creates this incredible illusion. Your followers see you succeed, and instead of getting suspicious, they just double down. They think, wow, if I just believe harder, if I just follow more closely, that could be me. And that brings us to the final step, the one that really cements the group for the long haul. To keep everyone united, to keep that energy high, you've got to give them a common enemy. This is that classic us versus them dynamic. You make your followers feel like they're in on a special secret, part of an exclusive club. And then you invent an enemy. It could be the non-believers, the mainstream media, the critics, anyone who's supposedly out to get you. Now get this, any attack on you becomes an attack on them. There's nothing like an outside threat to act as the ultimate social glue. So let's see how this all plays out in the real world. We're going to go back to the mid-1700s to a Swiss country doctor named Michael Schubach. He was known as the Mountain Doctor, and he became this huge sensation all across Europe. Turns out, Schubach was a master of this stuff. His patients would see these mystical rituals, these incredibly complex diagnoses. But what was really going on? He was just a smart guy who was good at observing people and listening to them. Those mysterious elixirs he prescribed, yeah, that was usually just basic common sense medical advice. He took a very simple reality and wrapped it up in this huge package of theatrical mystery. And of course, people couldn't get enough of it.
Greene has this great image he uses to sum up the whole law: the magnet. Think about it. The leader is the original magnet. They pull in followers, but then those followers become magnetized themselves, and they start pulling in other people. The power just grows and grows exponentially. You become this invisible, central force that holds the whole thing together.
But, and this is a huge but, here comes the warning, the reversal. That same group energy that gives you all that power, it's like playing with fire. Greene's warning is crystal clear. If that illusion ever shatters, if your followers ever see through the act, all of that love and adoration will flip instantly into pure rage. And believe me, that same crowd will tear you to pieces with the exact same passion they once used to follow you.
And that's really what brings us to today. You know, Greene was writing about historical figures, these old school prophets and charlatans, but take a look around right now. Look at big brands, at online influencers, at political movements. Where do you see this 5-step formula being used? It's a really interesting question to think about.